Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Mod Stripe stencil. You can see that it's very delicate, has a lot of intricate pieces in there that move around, so I thought it would be good to spray it with some easy tack adhesive. So I did that in a box off to the side. I eyeballed the diagonal in my first card, and so I just measured it because I liked the way it turned out. Turns out it was 1 3/4 inches from the top and then 1/2 inch from the upper right toward the left. I have a 6-inch roll of masking tape that has lasted forever. So what I'm going to do is I decided to put it in the trimmer. So I trimmed off a piece and I'm going to connect those 2 pencil marks that I made on the diagonal. And then what I'm going to do, rather than measuring from the bottom up, I'm going to measure the width of my stripe, which is going to be 2 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to do 2 pencil marks at 2 1/4 so that I can connect them. I cut another piece of masking tape and I'm just going to connect those 2 pencil lines. So now I have my stripe masked off. I decided to use tumbled glass. I'm using Distress ink, not oxide ink. I just wanted to use a really light color. This is my favorite light blue color. You can see I'm not doing a very good job. I've got a lot of blocks, but it's okay because I'm going to put the stencil on top of it so it doesn't have to be perfect. I think my ink pad is just really dry. It's super old. Okay, now I'm going to place my stencil on top, and I'm just going to make sure that I have the whole thing covered because it gets a little tricky on the diagonal, so you just have to make sure that the entire blue area is covered by some part of the stencil. And I also made sure that my design was sort of horizontal to my masking tape. So I'm going to take some Lucky Clover. This is oxide ink. The reason why I'm using oxide ink on top is because it goes on a little bit thicker. It also lays more on top of the paper and doesn't absorb as much, and it goes on more opaque, so I know it'll cover up the blue really well. So I'm going to cover this whole thing, and my ink pad is pretty juicy, so it's really easy to do. Now once I get this whole thing covered, I'm going to lift off the stencil so you can see the design underneath. I was really impressed with, sometimes with a stencil it looks a little blurry, but this was pretty crisp. So I'm going to take off my masking tape here, which of course I'm going to reuse a million times. And you can see how nice the line is. This is really good masking tape. It's Judikins, I believe. I'll have a link to it. This looks great as is, but I decided to put some black splatters just to add a little bit of something else. So I'm using my Gonzai Tombi black palette, which I always use for my black splatters. I decided I wanted a little bit bigger splatters, so I'm putting more water than I usually do. And I'm going to be really careful and just tap it a few times here. And you can see my droplets are not too big, but they're big enough to where you can really see them. So I'm going to hold this up so you can see. I like to concentrate it in one area and kind of spread it out. I'm going to use the inside part of this big happy die and this Lawn Fawn Happy Birthday to You, which I've used so many times. I trimmed my panel to 4 by 5 1/4. Just make sure you take an equal amount off of all sides. Here is my Happy Birthday to You. I cut off the happy. I'll adhere my stencil panel to a Hero Arts black note card. I love these note cards. They're white on the inside. I use them all the time. And I'm just going to do that with some tape runner. And now I'm just positioning my sentiment. Notice that the birthday to you goes through the Y of the happy. Now I'm going to mark this once I've got it placed so that I can put it right back in position while my glue is still wet. Now I'm going to connect these by putting some glue between the 2 and the U, and then kind of just press it down behind that Y just to hold it in place just a little bit. I'm going to cover the whole back with some 2A glue, and now that I have that pencil mark that I made, I can put it immediately right back where I want it, and I don't have to think about it while my glue dries. So once I get it positioned, I kind of fiddled with it a little bit to make sure it was all straight, and then I just pressed it down. Now it turns out that my eye was right on top of the black H, so I can add a dot with a white gel pen. And that is the card for today. So pretty simple card. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.